Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming to our webinar this evening. Greetings from Montreal. It is 7 p.m. Here in sunny Montreal. My name is Patricia. I'm a recruitment and admissions officer here at McGill University, and it is our absolute pleasure to have you here with us today. So before we get started, we would like to know a little bit more about you guys. So I'd like to know if you could please write down in the question box where you're joining us from and what time it is, because for us, it's very important to know who our audience is. Okay, so welcome, Kaya, from Ottawa, Montreal, fantastic. Houston, 6 p.m. Thank you very much for joining us. Paris, wow, this is wonderful. San Francisco in sunny California, welcome. New York, down south, welcome to our webinar. Lucinda from Arizona, Ottawa, Paige, Montreal. We have people from Vancouver. Thank you for coming. Vincent, welcome. We have New Brunswick, Finley, welcome as well. We have Connecticut, from Hamilton, Ontario. I hope you're all keeping safe and healthy out there. From Massachusetts, Anastasia, welcome. Toronto, my gosh, we have a little bit of, we have students from all over. And we have Nina from Paris, and it is 1 a.m. in the morning. Believe me, Nina and some other students who are also joining us from Europe, we will totally make it worth your time. And thank you so much for being up at 1 in the morning, okay? Okay, so great. So now I want to share with you a little bit of how our webinar is going to work like. So there's going to be a presentation. It's going to take anywhere between 35 to 40 minutes. And then the rest of the time we will have a Q&A, and I will be moderating the Q&A. We will talk about the faculty, the Bachelor of Science itself and the Bachelor of Arts and Sciences. And we will be covering advising timelines, selections, registration, course selection, registration, honors program, minors, majors. So we really hope that you leave this webinar feeling incredibly empowered into the next step, the next academic step that you will be making, okay? So right now I would like to invite our wonderful guests, and I would like them to introduce themselves, because it's not just me. We have a lot of people in the background helping out. So if you can please turn on your cameras, and I would like you all to be able to meet the wonderful people that are here with us today. So over to you guys.
Hi, everyone.
Well,
hi, all right, now everyone, welcome to the webinar. My apologies, Paul. My name is Ayman. I'm a student here at McGill. I'm originally from Malaysia, but I was in Texas, Houston before this. I studied cognitive science in the Faculty of Arts and Science.
Hi everyone, my name is Devin Walker. I'm also a student at McGill in my final year approaching graduation, which is very sad, but I am from the Boston area and I study pharmacology within the Faculty of Science.
Hi guys, my name's Kobe. I'm from Mississauga, Ontario, which is just outside of Toronto, and I study chemistry. I'm in my final year, and that's part of the Faculty of Science.
Hi everyone, I'm Paul Olioff. I'm an advisor in the Faculty of Science, been an advisor since 1999, a totally previous generation, and I'm a local boy, Montreal born and raised.
Hi everyone, my name is Mark. I am from New Jersey in the United States. I am in the Faculty of Science studying statistics and computer science.
Good evening, my name is Tanya and I'm the degree advisor for the Bachelor of Arts and Science.
Hi everyone, I'm Lindsay. I'm the manager in SOUSA, so the Science Office for Undergraduate Advising, and I'm going to be here to help Pete in the chat.
Hi everyone, I'm Pete Barry. I'm the Chief Academic Advisor for the Faculty of Science, and I'll be in the chat.
Thank you very much. So as you can see, we have a big crew in the background. So I will ask you all to turn off your cameras except Tanya and Paul, and then I will hand it over to Paul. For some reason, we cannot see you, Paul, but I'm hoping we can hear you.
Okay, well, I'd just like to say welcome to McGill University. Congratulations on your acceptance. I'm extremely proud of everybody, regardless of where you are. So whether it's good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or terrible middle of the night, I think it's really impressive that you've been able to weather the storm of this last year of adjusting to a completely different way of learning and a completely different way of understanding what education is like. And I think you should have a tremendous source of pride and give yourself a little bit of a hand for the fact that you got here, and you got here despite a lot of different challenges. Next slide. Okay, so let's look at a few things that we have here just to talk about the Bachelor of Science. So you'll be all admitted to at least 3 of these groups here. There's the Physical Earth, Math, and Computer Science group. There's the Biological, Biomedical, and Life Sciences group. And there's the Biophysical, Computational Sciences group. For those of you who are interested in our terrific neuroscience program, you can apply to that after your first year as a freshman, or some of you may be admitted directly into it if you're coming locally from a SOUSA program. So these are all the admissions groups in the BSc degree. Next slide, please. So let's take a look at some of the different groups. So if you're admitted to the Biophysical Computational Sciences, you have 4 choices. And notice that these are very interdisciplinary choices that combine the biological and the physical sciences. So we have biology and math, computer science and biology, physiology and mathematics, and physiology and physics. And these are excellent programs if you're looking to do graduate work in essentially the biomedical sciences, computational sciences, etc. Next slide, please. So we have a very flexible structure in the Bachelor of Science. Basically, if you're somebody who wants a lot of breadth, and you're somebody who's very interested maybe in going into a professional program, but doesn't necessarily want to concentrate too much on one major or another, you have the option of doing a liberal program, which allows you to combine it with a second program. Very popular choice for people who want a lot of breadth in their degree. The major is a fairly standard program that I'd say most students enter, and it gives you the option of preparing for professional programs and for graduate school. And if you're one of these very ambitious people who already knows that you want to go into research as a graduate student, we have the honors program. We also have a lot of minors. If you're interested in a variety of second programs, small programs that would prepare you, let's say, to learn a language, know a little bit more about computer science, focus on something in education or the arts, or maybe even something in engineering, minors are an optional part of your program. And for those of you, let's say, who want a lot of flexibility, you can also fill out your complete degree with electives. So let's take a look at the different structures. So again, the liberal program gives you a pretty solid foundation in your department, 45 to 50 credits, which is really the size of a lot of majors that exist in other universities. But the advantage of this program is it kind of forces you to combine it with a second program. You can do a second liberal, which is called a core science component. You could do a major concentration in the arts, and you could do minors in a variety of different faculties: arts, science, education, management, agriculture. So the key thing is, if you're somebody with a lot of interests, and maybe what you want to do down the road is also very multidisciplinary, like medicine or dentistry or public health, this is a fabulous program. Next slide, please. So the major program tends to be the standard program. It ranges from 54 to 72 credits. You can select a single discipline. You can combine it with a minor, or you can potentially just decide to use a lot of electives. A lot of students interested in professional programs like medicine often will just have their major and room for a lot of electives, so they can take those prerequisites that they need to get into those programs later on. Now, the good thing about our structure is that it's pretty easy to switch between majors, liberals, and honors programs. And we're going to get to the honors program in the next slide. So the honors program is our most structured program. So you're somebody going into mathematics, and your goal in life is to do research in that area of mathematics that's fascinated you since middle school. Basically, you want to have a more intensive program that gives you the option of doing a lot of research at the end of it, to delve into topics more specifically with each class you take, and basically to focus on preparing yourself for graduate school. This is what the honors program is about. In some cases, you can enter it directly after your freshman year or directly coming into U1. In other cases, you apply a little bit later in your degree. But think of it as the most specialized program that prepares you for graduate school. Next slide, please. And I want to introduce Tanya Rigo.
Well, congratulations, and a special congratulations to those of you who have been admitted to the Bachelor of Arts in Science, because it is my favorite degree at McGill University, obviously because I'm the degree advisor for the Bachelor of Arts in Science. Thank you, Paul, for passing the baton on. So next slide, please. So the Bachelor of Arts in Science has two possible structures. First, we have the multi-track system, and this consists in a major concentration in arts and a major concentration in science. And the second, more popular option is where you take an interfaculty program and a minor. Next slide, please. So we're going to look at the two options in this degree. So we're going to start with the multi-track. The multi-track is basically intended for students who want to take a smaller science program and a arts program. So both of them are 36 credits for a total of 72 credits. You, as an arts and science student, must also take BSc 201 at some point, and we do recommend as a U1 student. So this is for a total of 75 credits. Next slide, please. 2/3 of the students in the Bachelor of Arts in Science actually choose to do this degree structure, which is the interfaculty program. So we have three. We have one in environment, cognitive science, sustainability, science, and society. These programs are 54 credits, and you must combine them with a minor. That's 18 to 24 credits. So generally, you're also looking at a total of 72 credits, plus, again, BSc 201, so 75 credits. These programs are inherently interdisciplinary, whereas the multi-track, you do have to yourself work a little bit more at combining the two disciplines. Next slide, please. So what is SOUSA? Well, SOUSA is the Science Office for Undergraduate Student Advising. We provide faculty level academic advising. This is actually Paul and I's home, as well as Lindsay and Pete and many, many other people. You will each be assigned a SOUSA advisor. If you're in the Bachelor of Arts in Science, I'm going to be your SOUSA advisor. We basically are the main information and referral source for anything related to your academics. Normally, we are in a beautiful building on campus, but for the last year or a little bit more, we've all been working remotely from our homes. Next slide, please. So what is academic advising? Well, it's a collaborative relationship between a student and an academic advisor. So we really are here to help. We're here to help you get the most out of your time at McGill. And as I mentioned, we are normally located at Dawson Hall. We're not sure where we're going to be in the fall, but you will have a chance to connect with us as early as now, but definitely throughout the summer, and definitely right before school starts, and anytime while you're at McGill. Next slide, please. We're here to help you with program and course selections, course registration, any type of deadlines, any questions you may have about credit load, research opportunities, internships, study away. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the presentation, as well as career and graduate school options. And some students do have some difficult periods during their time at McGill, and we're also here to assist you during those times. We also are a referral service. So anything you need at McGill, we are a good place for you to start. Next slide, please.
Oh, thank you so much, Tanya. So, and just to let you know, we're currently about 30 minutes from campus in a wonderful little suburb that maybe some of you will wind up living in with relatively inexpensive rent. So the BSc Freshman Program is something a lot of you, whether you're in Houston, whether you're in Ottawa, whether you're in Vancouver, will be completing if you come in as a freshman. The advantage of this program is it helps you choose the program you want to go into. Otherwise, you're kind of going into things kind of like playing tennis without a net. So what is the BSc program, the freshman program? It consists of 7 courses, and normally what you choose are a couple of math courses, usually a couple of calculus courses, 4 foundational sciences, and those are courses from biology, chemistry, math, and physics, and 1 complementary course. It can be biology, chemistry, or physics, or it could be interesting courses in computer science, psychology, atmospheric science, the geography of climate change, or even classes in earth science. For those of you entering more of a physical sciences program where you're going to need the extra math, you can also do a 3 math course freshman program with 3 of those foundational sciences, and again, 1 complementary course. We have a nice little link to the handbook here where you can check it out, but this essentially is what our BSc freshman program is, what a lot of you will be doing next fall. Next slide, please. Okay, so if we're going to look at the complementary course options that I was talking about, you can actually take a physics, chemistry, or biology course as your extra complementary course, or you can look at some of the cool classes that we have listed here. We have a class called Extreme Weather and Climate Change, a course called Introduction to Computing, which teaches you a lot of, well, I mean, it teaches you the basics of computer languages. We have the Earth system for those maybe interested in environmental sciences and geography. For those interested in climate change, there's global change, past, present, and future. And for those of you interested in neuroscience or psychology, or just want to have a good background in the behavioral sciences, we have Intro to Psych. So it's kind of cool that we have a freshman program that incorporates these courses into it. Next slide, please.
Let's look.
I believe, Tanya?
Yes, let's look at the BANSC's freshman program. So it consists of 8 courses, anywhere between 24 to 28 credits, depending on the courses you select. Most courses are 3 credits, but there are some courses that are 4 credits. You may be able to take 1 or 2 electives during your freshman year. The structure is basically 2 math courses plus 3 basic science courses plus 3 arts courses. You must take at least 1 biology, chem, or physics, so 1 out of those 3 more traditional foundational sciences. And you cannot take any more than 2 complementary courses. So we also accept Comp 202, ESYS 104, and the very popular Psych 100. We have a lot of students in cognitive science in the Bachelor of Arts and Science, so Psych 100 is a very common course for students in this degree. You must take arts courses from at least 2 categories out of humanities, languages, and social sciences. So the link to the freshman program will be found in the handbook. So if you go to that link, you'll find the information, or you and I can correspond back and forth, maybe meet on Zoom and discuss the freshman program. Next slide, please. Some of you may be coming to McGill with some advanced standing. These are credits that are granted to you due to previous education, such as the International Baccalaureate, the French Baccalaureate, A-levels, APs. It can count towards the 120 credits that you need to graduate from McGill. It can also help satisfy certain program prerequisites or freshman program requirements. If you have advanced standing for a course, you cannot normally repeat that course at McGill. And some students with enough credits will be entering McGill as a U1, but you still must complete your freshman program requirements. Next slide, please. If you are coming from CEGEP, and those of you who don't know what CEGEP is, but that is our local Quebec curriculum, so local students are coming automatically with 30 credits of advanced standing. Therefore, you are not entering a 4-year degree, but rather you are entering a 3-year degree. In other words, you must complete 90 credits to graduate. You may also be exempted from certain courses due to some of the SAUSA courses you took, such as Org 1, which at McGill is called Chem 212, or Org 2, Chem 222. Possibly a stats course that's equivalent to McGill's Math 203, or Calculus 3, which is equivalent to McGill's Math 222. Next slide, please. As a U1 student, you will also have a departmental or program advisor because you will be able to declare your program. You will be able to consult them as well as consult us, your degree advisors, for help on selecting your courses, but the program advisor will be the person that needs to help you with things that are very specific to your program. For example, if you're a science student in pharmacology, you would consult with the program advisor in pharmacology. If you're a student in cognitive science, you would consult with your program advisor in cognitive science. Next slide, please. So what is a normal course load in university? So normally it's 4 to 5 courses per semester, or 12 to 15 credits per term. Some professional programs, so if you have the intention of potentially applying to something like medicine, law, or dentistry, they do prefer that you maintain a 30 credit load all 4 years, or 3 years if you're coming from SAUSA. And that basically is 5 courses per term. If you work or you participate in varsity sports, you may need to reduce your load. If you have been awarded a scholarship, it is important to check what the condition is. So how many courses do you have to complete while you're at McGill? Next slide, please.
So we have different kinds of, is this yours or mine?
Go for it, Paul.
So let's look at some different kinds of course types. I mean, we can definitely share. Just to give you a little bit of the nomenclature that we have, because you might not be familiar with this. A required course is a course you must take for your program. So for a lot of you going into biology, there's a course called Biology 200 you might take. Now, a complementary course is a course from a list. So you're given a lot of courses that are considered to be roughly equivalent to each other, and you choose 1 or 2 depending on kind of the direction you want to take. These could be courses that you take in your 2nd year, your 3rd year, or it could even be courses that you take in your 2nd year in a program. So basically you get a choice of certain courses that you can take. And if something is completely outside of your program, like for example, you're a psychology major and you're really curious about taking an anthropology course, and yes, science students can take arts courses, you would be taking an elective if you're taking an anthropology course. In other words, a course that's absolutely not part of your program. Next slide, please. So we have something called the satisfactory, unsatisfactory option. If, let's say, you have a course that's not going to be part of your program, it's an elective like the anthropology course, or you're taking a French class, or you're learning computer programming, or you want to take an accounting course, and you've decided, look, I want to learn this stuff, but I don't want it to count towards my CGPA, you can use something called the satisfactory, unsatisfactory option. You have until the course change period, so roughly 2.5 weeks into the semester, to use the SU option, put it on your record for that course, or take it off. You can do it for up to 10% of your credits completed at McGill. Now they have to be all electives, but let's say if you're in a 120 credit program, it's 12 credits of electives. If you're in a 90 credit program, it's 9 credits of electives. So again, the advantage is you get to focus on the course without having to worry about the grade. That's what's called the SU option. It's not pass-fail because you need the equivalent of a C grade, which is a 55%, whereas a pass is a D or a 50%. I'm sure none of you are worried about getting grades like that. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have a rule about courses outside the Faculty of Arts and of Science. Basically, you can take almost any course in the Faculty of Science and almost any course in the Faculty of Arts. But what if you're curious about taking courses in management? What if you're curious about taking courses in education or engineering or agriculture? We allow students in the Faculty of Science to take up to 18 credits outside the Faculty of Arts and Science, so roughly 6 courses, and for those in the BA and SC, up to 12 credits. Now, not all courses are allowed for credit. There's certain courses, let's say like Life as a Professional Musician, which science students can't take, but arts and science students can take. And we have a list of restricted courses on our website. Now, basically, if you're unsure, one of the advantages of having advisors like us is you can always shoot us a quick email, ask us, and we'll tell you whether you can take the course or not. Now, the rule's slightly different for students in some major honors programs like environment or software engineering, because those programs often require you to take courses that are outside the faculties of arts and science, so we relax the rule a little bit. Next slide, please. Now, we have something called an internship program. What is an internship program? We don't have the type of co-op that they have in other universities, but a science internship program is paid full-time work in a field related to your studies. It can be from 4 to 16 months. It allows you to apply theory to practice, and it increases job prospects after graduation. So you're a computer science student who's not exactly sure what you can do with your degree, and you decide that you're going to go for that internship in Google or Microsoft, and yes, a lot of students wind up doing this. And then you have the opportunity to work in the field that you've chosen to determine if this is the direction you want to take. For a lot of students, this solidifies the fact that they're in the right program. For other students, it allows them to think a little bit more critically about what else they might want to do. We have an entire office dedicated to that. Next slide, please. I believe, Tanya, is this yours? Or I'll do this one?
Sure.
Okay, so there are also a lot of field studies opportunities, and this is something that students are very curious about. Now, experiential learning is really, I'd say, a foundation of an undergraduate degree, something that you want to have experiences with. Obviously, you're already going to have lab courses, so those lab courses are experiential learning. But what if you want to find out what it's like to actually study in an environment where you're physically in the area where a lot of the research is done? Well, we have semester-long programs in Africa, Barbados, Panama, and the Arctic, as well as individual field studies courses like, digging for Triceratops skeletons in Saskatchewan or observing large marine mammals in New Brunswick. This is an opportunity that you can take to take a McGill course in a completely different physical environment, even the Barbados, to see really how research is done in vivo, exactly in the area where a lot of the scientific results are coming from. So these opportunities are available to you as well as science students. Next slide, please.
So something else that is available to you beyond the classroom is undergraduate research. Research is an integral part of McGill University, and undergraduate students are really encouraged to do research. Now, this is one of the things that you may be interested in and may have drawn you to McGill. So certainly, if you're thinking about doing this, you can start by speaking to us, your SOUSA advisor, and we will talk to you about all the different options that are available to you as undergraduate students. Next slide, please. So Montreal is a wonderful city to study in, to be a student in. It is vibrant. Okay, maybe pre-pandemic, but it will once again be vibrant, hopefully in the near future. But some of you may want to get away from the harsh winter and decide to study at another institution for 1 or 2 semesters. So you could take part in an exchange or an independent study away. This is something that we recommend you consider as a U2 student. And students will receive lots of information about this even starting in your first semester at McGill, so it won't be too early to start considering all your options. And I'm sure after this pandemic is under control, many students will want to travel as much as possible during their undergraduate study. Next slide, please. We also offer for BSc students something called the global designation. So if you are taking part in any of these experiential or global opportunities, you can be awarded this designation when you graduate. Again, this is lots of information for you this evening, so certainly something that you can bring up to your SOUSA advisor if you're curious and want to have more information about it. Next slide, please. So now that we've gone over hopefully some useful information for you, probably a lot of details, we do want to bring up two links for you that are in our handbook. So if you go to mcgill.ca/science/undergraduate/handbook, it will probably in the next little while have a different link. But the undergraduate handbook does have sample schedules for BSc and BA and SC students. So if you still aren't sure what courses you should be taking during your freshman year, we do put some on this website to help you. So next page, please. Paul, would you like to go over the BSc sample schedule?
Sure, of course. So this gives you an idea of what a typical BSc sample schedule would be for a freshman student. So as you can see, students are taking courses from the different foundational sciences. This student in particular is taking Biology 111, which is sort of an ecological organismal biology course, Math 140, which is a calculus course, Physics 101, which is an introductory mechanics course, and Chemistry 110, which is an introductory chemistry course. You have to register for labs with a lot of these courses, so that's why we tell students in their first year, basically take 4 courses a semester. You'll probably expand your course selection to 5 later on in your degree, but for your first year, 4 per term is perfectly fine. Next slide, please.
So here is a sample schedule from a fall semester. So in this case, this was fall 2020. And this student is also taking some foundational science courses, but is also taking an art history course. So in addition to, and a French course, in addition to the math and bio and Psych 100. And again, the student correctly registered for their Bio 111 lab in addition to registering for the lecture.